Hey guys, Justin here with Jay Primrose Properties, and in today's video we're going to talk about a topic that comes up quite a bit, and some people have some confusion around this and kind of how it works and when it applies, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and get into it. So what we're going to talk about today is what is a power of an attorney, or I'm sorry, a power of attorney, and like when do you use it? So what is it good for? When can you use it? When can you not use it? When does it expire? All that good stuff. It's something that comes up quite a bit, especially in relation to selling a home, and also title a lot of times will require the copy of this as we get going. But let's kick off with just starting off and explaining what even is a power of attorney. So really what a power of attorney is allowing someone to act on your behalf. So sign documents on your behalf, financial decisions, it could be medical decisions, really life decisions. A lot of times, like with a last will and testament, estate planning, life planning, you're going to have that as well as a piece of that, so that someone else can make decisions on your behalf. That can include selling a home, again, transferring funds, all kinds of stuff. So it can be a very powerful document. There's different types of power of attorneys, but in essence, what it does is it gives someone else the authority to act on your behalf, and it can be in a specific thing, like in one small region, or it can be over everything. So let's get into kind of what they are. So really what a power of attorney is, we kind of talked about it, but really it's a document, and it must be signed and dated by you. And in Washington State, it has to be notarized or basically signed by two witnesses. And the two witnesses cannot be, there's a couple different factors, like they can't be long-term care, or it doesn't have to be long-term, but healthcare workers. They can't be, I believe it's blood relatives, and then people, relatives by marriage. So they want true kind of neutral witnesses, because it is a powerful document, especially if it's kind of an all-encompassing one. So it has to have that document that states it's a power of attorney. You have to sign it and have it either be notarized or have two witnesses that are almost like a neutral party that can't be related, like a blood relative or, care workers, things like that, to protect folks, which I think is a very good rule. So also to differentiate, there's different types of powers of attorneys. Like I said, there's some that are very specific. So you sign one to have someone do something in one specific area on your behalf, or it can be a very big one where it's all encompassing over all your legal and financial matters. So a couple different ones. There's one called a general power of attorney, and then there's also what's called a durable power of attorney. And so a general power of attorney pretty much will define when it comes into play. And then what happens is, if someone becomes incapacitated, which means that they're no longer either like legally competent. So it might be some cases that we deal with at times, or maybe like dementia, or medically just not fit to be signing documents or making these decisions. So a lot of times with a general power of attorney, what happens, it becomes effective upon signing, and when that one expires is really if you revoke it or you become incapacitated. So it's kind of like you're allowing them to do that, but if you become incapacitated or not legally fit, then that will expire. Or you can let them know, hey, I'm revoking this. This is no longer in play, and that's also going to end that. A durable power of attorney will carry on past the incapacitation or being legally incompetent, where you can't legally make your own decisions. Again, maybe like dementia, health, things like that, like sometimes extreme cases, coma, stuff like that. So a durable will carry on. So durable, you think it's more durable. So when you become incapacitated, that will carry forth. The general typically will end at that place, because again, there's different types. So also there's even what's called a medical power of attorney, and that could be giving the authority to make medical decisions on your behalf to someone else. So that's another option. And really, what can people do with the power of attorney? It depends on what type of power of attorney it is. Like we just talked about, the medical power of attorney applies to medical decisions. There can be a very specific one. For example, if you're wanting someone to help with a specific legal matter, it can encapsulate just that. Really, the document will define, what it covers. And so really, oftentimes, it's kind of, even how I'm explaining it, it kind of sounds like this big thing, but really you're just authorizing someone to do something on your behalf. So in real estate, what happens a lot of times is if someone's helping, like maybe their elderly parents want to sell a home, or like I said, if someone's medically not competent, not able to do that, they'll have a power of attorney. And like recently we had purchased a property from a family member who had power of attorney for their cousin, who really wasn't doing well health-wise, would be with it, but then kind of be out of it, kind of come and go. And so the cousin, several years before, got the power of attorney and had been really taking care of her family member. But the time had come where this house had been sitting vacant, and they understood that she's not going to be able to move back in. And so she was able to sell the house for her cousin to help get her some funds and make it an easy transition and easy transaction for them. And so she was the one who signed the closing documents. She was the one that sold the house on behalf of her cousin, who she was helping out and also caring for. So that's how a power of attorney typically works as far as real estate goes. It's where someone's going to be helping someone who's incapacitated sell their property. So they're signing on your behalf and handling that. A lot of times it's adult children whose parents might be elderly that we work with quite a bit as well on power of attorney also. So when does the power of attorney expire is something that comes up a lot of times. And a good answer to that is typically when someone passes away. Like we've had this come up quite a bit where someone might be in ill health, which is why they have the power of attorney, and they have a property that might be in disrepair, or it might be facing foreclosure if they're not able to make payments because they're either older or have some medical issues. And what happens is if they're getting towards end of life, sometimes what will happen is if they pass away before anything goes through, that power of attorney is now expired. It's null and void because that person's no longer living. So that's one way that can expire. So sometimes if people really aren't doing well, they might have a probate situation, which we're kind of getting into a whole nother topic here, but it could be a much longer process of going through probate for a full estate, or if they're just wanting to handle this while the person's still alive and they're wanting to make it a little bit simpler of a process, or they might need funds for those medical services, then your power of attorney would still be active. But if that person passes away, that power of attorney is no longer active because the person's no longer alive. Or if the person's, say, in good health and they just have this power of attorney but they don't want you to have it anymore, they can also basically revoke it. So sign something saying this is no longer valid, and that will make that power of attorney expire. So it's also written consent, or like we talked about a little bit earlier with a general power of attorney, if you become incompetent, a lot of times that will expire, but that can be a little bit more of a gray area as well. So long story short, it's a very powerful tool. It's a great tool a lot of times to help with parents, people that might be medically incapacitated. And so it's a really good thing to have, but it's also important to do it the right way and make sure that it's done correctly, and to have protections around it, really, because it is something where if it's an all-encompassing document, they can make all your decisions on your behalf, including financial decisions. So it's something you want to be cautious with. But I get asked about it a lot, so I want to record this video. Hopefully this is helpful to you. If you're in a situation where you're wanting to sell a home, or even sell a home on someone's behalf, maybe utilizing a power of attorney, we would love to talk to you about that, and would love to have a conversation to see if we might be a good fit. And if not, we can definitely help point you in the right direction for someone who can. And one last thing I want to mention that I almost forgot is also you're going to have to have a copy of this. So with a title company, that when you're using a title company to close the transaction or the sale of a home, they're going to want a copy of that, typically the original copy that's notarized oftentimes, and just verify, because again, it's selling someone's home is a big deal, so they want to make sure that you actually do have legal authority to do that. So anyways, just want to add that little last thing there, but we'd love to have a conversation with you if you're considering selling. Appreciate you watching the video. I hope you guys have an awesome day today. Thanks so much.